Mhm.
So hello and welcome everybody to the fifth session on the fourth day of BigBlueButtonWorld 2022. So I just want to say welcome everybody, welcome Vitalii. Really appreciate to have you here. I think we have a really interesting talk that's going to be coming up. So just to give some background on our speaker, so Vitalii Dominechenko is the IT infrastructure lead at Alef Trust. So as the IT infrastructure lead, Vitalii manages the IT processes within the organization, website and educational systems maintenance, development and support, and he helps students gain confidence working in an online environment. So today he'll talk about how he and his team managed to satisfy their most important requirements using just custom JS code attached to the Canvas theme. And it's going to be a really riveting and inspiring story about doing the impossible and a lot of the struggles and a self-described, not absolutely happy ending. And so I'm really looking forward to this discussion, and I think others are too. So Vitalii, I'll pass the mic off. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you for presentation. Yeah, probably you already understand what was said. That most of the, not most, but everything. Why is that the topic is called hacking? Because everything that was done purely on JS attached to Canvas theme. So it was made not for such type of things. It was made for, I don't know, maybe renaming some stuff, changing colors and so on. But eventually I realized that this is like a huge, maybe only chance for us to deal with our issues that we faced. So just small background. Before Canvas, we were using Sakai for 10 years, maybe around that time. I joined the team maybe 2 years ago or something like that. When I joined, we didn't really have any problems with conferences and in general with Sakai, except for it was really outdated. It was not the last version, and UI was very not that much inspiring, and a lot of manual work. So like every presentation had to be created manually. As you will see, in our case, we made it. I managed to make it using API in bunches. So, but what we liked about Sakai, as we realized it after moving to Canvas, we realized that we missed something about Sakai, and especially about conferences. We loved that there was a function of wait for moderator, waiting room. Presentations could be pre-uploaded, meaning that like 2 months ago, before the session takes place, teacher had an opportunity to upload the presentation, and don't worry about anything, then just join, and that's it. We loved and we really needed this opportunity to add participants by role and by group, as well as setting permissions for the meeting for each separate user. As you can see on the right, there is participants part. Settings date and time, it was essential for us because we have a lot of conferences going on by schedule, and we needed this, as well as automatic door opening and as well closing, which we realized that was not implemented by default for Canvas and BBB. Automatic participants notifications before the date, as you see part 4 on the right, notification. It was great that we were able to set this notification, and again, don't worry about sending again emails for students that don't forget. Tomorrow we will have this conference and so on. Next, automatic adding to calendar with a direct URL to join the meeting. It's same for itself, and simple and intuitive for UI for our instructors, maybe because they were used to it, but well, it was pretty understandable. What was our expectation, main list of expectations about Canvas and BBB integration when we moved to Canvas was that we have opportunity to planning for date and time, as I said, with automatic door opening. After adding meeting event to students' calendar, what is logical. Invitation to students was sent by groups and roles to be sent. I mean, automatic reminder some hours, days before the meeting. By the way, point 3 was implemented after we started using it. So with time, we became able to invite students by group and by section, I believe, even, what is very handy, but we didn't use it because of my code, which was kind of made it unusable for us for some time until it's fixed and made officially. And fifth is about webinars creation and management, because we have pretty much of them. As you can see, this is we have about 10-15 webinars for each of our about 20 courses, so it's pretty big amount to be created some days before students start to learn, something like at the end of September. And there was a problem related to latecomers, which are joining our courses, for example, 2 days after the first orientation meeting. And the problem was that they don't see any created webinars, and we have to either recreate them all after he joined and deleting everything before, or there is another way to kind of update each webinar manually, but it will break some links between calendar and BBB meeting itself. So it was not ideal solution. And as you can understand, like creating 10-15 webinars because of new student joined late, it's kind of pain in one place. So it was something that we expected to be. And our other expectations was 6 simple webinars, recording, access, and storage. In general, I would say that this was implemented and we loved how recordings are stored and accessed. Support of latecomers, what I explained, so they have access to the webinars and webinar recordings on the course they are enrolled. It's the same about recordings. If they were not invited to some specific webinars, they cannot see recording at all. And 8, permissions. Yes, student cannot edit or delete, but can create their own meetings. This is how we were using conferences on Sakai, because sometimes students need to create some personal events and invite only some people in their group, like 2-3 students, and no one else except them will see this webinar, but they can do the same, set date, time, it will automatically, they will be just moderators. And of course, natively integrated to Canvas and hassle-free. Hassle-free, what you can understand, this is just a joke. Well, so to cut the long story short and to make everything clear from the beginning, what we were expecting, you already know, and how it did we manage to do this actually. In general, date and time was kind of made. We didn't manage to make automatic door opening and closing, so after each webinar, tutor and or teacher, they should end the webinar from BBB interface and then go to webinars list and manually end this webinar. Otherwise it will be still in progress, and students in like 5-10 days, if tutor if it's not done, then they can be confused, as you can understand. So adding meetings and event was done using API, our code. For the third one, we decided to make it in different way. We went in a different way. We started using student groups in Canvas, but it's not that bad actually, where we create separate groups for separate students, and then create webinars within these groups. And rules, permissions, Canvas-wide was set, and I believe it cannot be changed, that students which are participants of specific course group, they can manage, create, delete, edit all the webinars which they want. So it's kind of, it was fine for us. Automatic reminder hours, days before the meeting. It's only done manually using announcements. Is about webinar operation and management. I will show how it's done in short somewhere in the end as well using API. Simple webinars, recording, access, and storage. It was done. Initially, we didn't do anything. Number 7, support for latecomers. So yeah, there was another tricky solution which I was trying to do to prevent from this recreation of webinars and updating of webinars. I was creating like 10 dummy students, like standby students accounts, which were after, I don't know, 1 month of after the start of course, if there is anyone coming, then we just replace name, surname, email, and SAS ID, and just send email to students that here's your account, please use it. And this, because this dummy student was pre-enrolled before webinars were created, this student had full access to all webinars and recordings. It's kind of workable solution, but we had to manage all of them. We had to delete them manually after all this time passes after 1 month, and also because Canvas is counting by number of active students, it was not the best solution because we had to really be cut everyone who is not used, I mean, dummy student accounts. Well, students can edit or delete, but can create meetings. Yeah, I had to do something as well using API. I had to hide create meeting button for students on courses where I wanted them to be able to, I don't even remember, to tell the truth. For some reasons I've been doing this, but I'm not ready to answer it. But yeah, well, we solved it using student groups. And yeah, natively integrated to Canvas and Hassel. Sorry, here's a typo. It's full screen, as you understand. Okay, so everything started from reverse engineering. I had this list of things that should be implemented. I mean that main first 5 requirements. And we had a couple of other providers like Zoom, like Microsoft Teams, Google Meet. We tried each of them, and we decided that we had, by the way, some big expectations from Zoom, but it didn't fit our needs, like mostly not satisfied our needs. And we returned back to BigBlueButton and started to explore what's possible to improve. And yes, so to understand how to code, how to record this, how to do something to it, first thing that I realized that there is custom JavaScript code for theme. It really inspired me because I realized that something is possible from this point. And other things that was very important that when I've been creating some calendar events, I've seen there a conferencing type, and I were able to add BigBlueButton to some specific event when I created, and I started exploring it using Chrome DevTools, starting to understand what's going on behind which request was done and so on. And I realized that there is new calendar event object which has calendar event property attached to this with web conference properties in more detail. The problem and the issue and my surprise was that this property was not officially documented at that point of time on Canvas API documentation, and it was like everything like first steps in the dark room, and I didn't really understand what I'm doing, but everything was about experiencing different, like trying different ways and using DevTools in Chrome was very useful stuff. The way of new conferences, as you can see, plus new conference button, which is placed on new conferences under every course. The logic behind that was different, and as I understood, it was not used. It was used. It was made using API, but it was made using some specific access token. So it was really protected very fine. So I were not really able to hack this with my knowledge, because there is every time when you do something, you have another token, and I didn't really understand how to break this knot. Okay, so let's start about how the API call was made. The calendar events URL looks like this. So there is the domain of our instance on Canvas, and then there is API version 1 calendar events, and I realized that there is a bunch of properties added to this. Conference type BigBlueButton, orientation meeting is a title which can be anything, and perfectly it should be the same as calendar event title. Calendar event description, it's empty here because in this simplified UI there is more details, and then you will be able to add this. So I'm just showing what happens in DevTools when you submit new calendar event using BigBlueButton conferencing type. So these four properties are added to this calendar event, what means that we have calendar event and we have web conference object, which is separate from this, but kind of added to this calendar event. And when I was saying that it's unlinked, when we manually update web conference under web meetings, it's here web meetings, but actually it's web conferences. I renamed this manually. So when we go here and update it using this org icon, you will see that this first part with date and time, which is counted automatically by Canvas when it's calendar event linked, it's disappearing. So we will have only description, and date and time should be typed here manually for students to understand when it starts. Otherwise, it will not be done. And as well, what's the problem is that time zones is not configured and updated automatically for students. But Canvas do it automatically. So started from understanding what's behind these things. Then I started to think how to update the UI to make it simple, and it should have only what we need. What we need is just name, start and date, time, and description. That's it. Description was pre-populated. We have please wear your headset and sign in early for every webinar. And then teacher add some other information if needed. And when we do automatic bulk upload of conferences like 10 or 15, I also calculate date and time, and here add the date and time in BST or GMT time zone, depending on time of the year. So as you see, I removed members from here because we invite all members, all course members by default. I also removed all these things because I made enable recordings for these conferences automatically, because we have all the conferences, we need them to be recorded. And also we have no time limit because we have no idea how long will it be yeah. I was thinking to add members, but I realized that it's too complicated because every member is invited by ID, which I need to understand where to take, and it was really impossible to calculate. It was really too long, and it should not be done on the front end side. My code, part of the JS function which creates new meetings. It's really a big file in general, containing a lot of other things, but the function which creates this event starts from this part. As you see, we have the same properties added to the form, which is posted then to API v1 calendar events. And as you can see, title is the same as title here, start here, and oh no, I don't see and here. And this one are preset, pre-populated, as I said, so we don't have it in UI because it's always set to a specific place. I had also to calculate calendar event context code because it's like from the place where it's created, I have to take the course ID and add the course ID to this calendar event context code. Here a token for API, Canvas API, should be used for this call, as you can understand. If you need this code, please make photo or do this QR code link. Use this QR code link, or maybe you will need it and I can send it in the commentaries later. Okay, and bonus topic: how to bulk create meetings. I've been using Postman application, and there is a runner tool which allows you to upload CSV file. It's like a list of data, which is used for request, and there is I think it's called pre-request or something like that. Pre-request operations or actions. Okay, here it is. Pre-request scripts, yeah. So you have to add this here, the biggest part of the code, which is also available for you, my present, if you need this. Hopefully anyone will use it. And you will have to populate body, headers, and all that stuff. It's all explained in this gist. If you have any questions, you can email me and contact me if you need. So this is how a runner tool looks like. So you attach the CSV file. It shows you how many rows of data except title it has. And then you click Run Canvas Pro. It's how I have request code, so you can name it as any other way. And then you will see statuses for each of your requests. Unfortunately, it's done not as array, but every conference is created manually. I mean, not manually, but like one by one. So you will see a lot of 200, hopefully, codes, which will say that the conference is created. Oh, and small thing which I didn't add to this webinar, if you use this bulk population, you should create meetings in the reverse order, meaning that you have first create meetings which will happen later and then closer, because Canvas has no tool. It's another thing which would be nice to have. It cannot order webinars by date of the webinar itself. It orders everything by default by date of creation. So if you create it earlier, it will be on top. That's why you have to create first the ones which should be later, and then you will create ones which will be sooner. Yeah, and it will be on the top of the list. Okay, so I think it's enough. It's time as well. Coming. So it was really like bird's eye view. There were a lot of things to cover if we have more time, but I'm not sure that everyone here will need so much details in general. In general, we were satisfied with what we've done, and so far we are using it for 1 year already, and probably we will need to use it for another year or maybe half of the year. As far as I know, Fred, thank you very much for doing this, and as well as Canvas are working hard on updating all these things, and maybe it will be implemented natively soon. So we are all hoping for this, praying for this, and so far we are doing what we are using what we have. So thank you very much for your attention. I think that's it so far, and probably it's time for questions if there are any, and time if we have more time.
Yeah, so first of all, Vitalii, I just want to say big thanks for that presentation. We do have about 3 minutes or so for some questions, and I see that there's one here in the chat asking, is there any possibility of editing the title after the meeting / recording?
I'm not sure. It can be done. As far as I know, as I realized, you have no opportunity. It's like backend doesn't allow you to change any past webinar, past conferences. So I didn't find any way for doing this. Yeah, it would be also nice to rename and manage conferences which happened before. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for your attention.
Alrighty, well, what I'm going to do then is, if there's no more questions, I'll give it about another minute or so. If we don't get anything from then, I'll go ahead and I'll stop the recording. But again, Vitalii, thank you so much for the presentation and everything like that. And for the folks that aren't able to make it, we're going to have all these recorded and uploaded online so that everybody who didn't have the chance to swing by this week and see the sessions, they'll be able to view them at their own leisure.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks again, Vitalii. That was great.
Yes, presentation link. Yeah, okay. The link for the full presentation is here.